Hello. Allow myself to get situated here. I have my coaster for my beverages, my book tabs, my phone charging, my box of tissues, my gator. If you know, you know. I encourage you to watch the previous vlog. I've got my cozy blanket here. Welcome to the reading retreat. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're just sitting in your living room. What's this reading retreat all about? Yes, it is in fact my birthday weekend. My birthday was yesterday, and I already did all of my pre-work, got all the stuff done that I needed to do, all of my adulting, so that I could take this weekend and kind of turn it into an epic reading weekend where I read way more than I usually do. I was thinking about doing a 24-hour challenge, but I thought, how would I even deal with that? I don't want to deal with a timer, and I just don't want to deal with that. I also still have real life things that I need to deal with. So I just thought that it would just be too complicated if I tried to make this into some sort of 24-hour reading challenge. That's not happening. I am, however, trying to read as much as humanly possible over the next 3 days. So today is Friday. It's actually the afternoon at this point. Yes, it is 1:45 in the afternoon. I did get a couple of hours of reading in this morning. My main thing that I am reading being, hold on, let me put the jacket back on it. There we go. With the main thing that I am reading being Alchemised. You guys have been watching me slowly chip away at this book in previous Vlogtober vlogs here, and I am happy to report I am in the last 150 pages of this book. So you can see I've come a long ways. You've heard me talk about this a lot, so I'm not going to repeat here. Go back and watch the previous videos. But I will say this is a dark fantasy, giving very Handmaid's Tale, very much a war story, sort of presenting as if the bad guys won, and it follows our lead character Helena as she navigates being both a prisoner of war. She is captured, and she is part of the resistance, and then sort of her memories are locked away in a deep part of her mind, and she's a prisoner of war. She's been captured, and that's how the book sort of begins. But it is broken up into 3 parts. There's sort of the beginning part where you are really thrust into some intense situations here. Again, I will stress that this is very much a dark fantasy. It's a dark book, guys. Please check the trigger warnings. It's one of the most intense and graphic books that I have read. Gore, medical gore, body stuff, hospital stuff, human experimentation stuff. It was hard for me to start. To put it lightly, this book weighs a ton. I'm going to put it like this. This book was really hard for me to start in the beginning because it is so intense in that aspect of sort of the medical stuff. That's sort of part 1 of the book, is her capture and not really knowing or remembering what's going on. You are introduced to a number of characters. I'm trying to be really vague with this because I went into it not knowing really anything about it, and I feel like that's the way to go about reading this book. Then we get into part 2, which is the biggest part of this book, where it is basically a flashback, and you're getting all of the stuff of what happened, right? And it is basically war. It is a war story. It's more about the war, the politics, things that sort of happen and that is revealed about both sides. It's very, very interesting and incredibly well done. It's so well done. This author, what they have written here is an absolute masterpiece in how this story is laid out and woven together. It's unlike anything that I've ever read. But I have now reached part 3, which is the last little section in the back here, where you are thrust back into present time. I don't think me giving the timeline thing is spoilery, because there's just so much that happens in this book. It's insane. I couldn't even, I'm trying to summarize the best I can, and I know I'm not doing it justice because there's so much that happens in this book. It is crazy. Do not let this fool you, though. This is not a dark romance. I think a lot of people, myself included, went into this thinking it was going to be heavy on the romance. It is not. It is not. There's a love story, but it is really about war, okay? It is a war book. That is the main thing that happens in this, okay? And it's intense, it's beautiful, it's gut-wrenching, it's everything. It's everything. This book just has it all. So I've been on what feels like a journey getting through this book, and I will say, even if you're not going to read it, go to a store and just pick it up. Just pick it up and feel how heavy this is, and then see how thin the pages are in this book, okay? It's the thinnest paper ever. I'm always scared I'm gonna rip a page as I'm turning pages. But yeah, you'll see too that I've even tabbed things here. This book is 1,024 pages. I think this is the longest, biggest book I've ever read, I think, at this point. And I have to admit, I've enjoyed every minute of it, honestly. And I say enjoyed lightly because some of the things that happen in this book is very intense. And it's brutal to read at times. There has been moments where I've had to put the book down and like pick up something fluffy just because it's so intense. That all said, I am in the last 150 pages, so I'm kicking off my reading retreat, my 3 days of reading as much as humanly possible. Again, today is Friday. Tomorrow, I actually have a little day pass booked at a hotel where I'm really going to be doing the main reading retreat. Part is happening there where I'm just going to hole up in a hotel room and read as much as I can. James will be tagging along, so I'm sure he'll distract me, but I'm planning on doing a lot of my reading tomorrow and then a bit into Sunday as well. So we are kicking off the reading retreat by finishing Alchemised. I feel like I had to include this book just because you guys have seen snippets of me reading it. So join me now as we finish Alchemised because I wanted to finish this before tomorrow because I did not want to be lugging this thing with me around town because it's too big. It's too big to be carrying around. So I would like to try to finish this one. I'm also reading a audiobook. So I'm kind of bouncing between this and my audiobook, which is, it's the Darcy Coates haunted house book. The Haunting of Blackwood House is the audiobook that I'm currently listening to. So I'm not that far into it. I'm only 26% in, but that is my main audiobook that I'm listening to on the side. So if you see me with headphones, this is what I'm listening to. That's sort of the two main books. I also have Wildcard. Wildcard is the other book that I'm reading. It might be too far away. Wildcard is the other book that I'm also reading. I don't know how much I'm going to be reaching for this just because I don't know, I've been slowly chipping away at it on my Kindle. I was reading it a bit at Disneyland on my Kindle. I've just been really slowly sort of like puttering around with this, but yeah, because I have absolute delulu in thinking that I can also read a big chunk of this today or tonight because I know Alchemized is going to be the thing that really consumes my time here, but I don't have that much left of Alchemized, so maybe I'll power through. I don't know, but Wildcard is the other one that I've been reading, which is the last book 4 of the Rose Hill series. So that's kind of my 3 main books that I'm reading at this moment. I have lots of things on the docket that I hope to get to this weekend, but first things first, let's get this done. And I'm scared. Oh my gosh. Hello. Okay, wait, you feel really far away. I'm going to scoot you up a little bit closer. It's a pretty firm bed, not going to lie. Hello. Welcome to the reading retreat. I mean, it started yesterday, if we're being completely honest, but We have checked into our hotel. As you can see, I brought in a extra cozy blanket over here. I have my hoodie over there too. I even brought sweatpants and stuff. I brought so much stuff that I am not going to need. It's insane. I brought a coloring book and markers. I brought multiple book options. I did start a new book this morning. We'll talk about that in a minute. I have Alani's. I have snacks. I have extra hot Cheetos, which is my favorite snack of all time. I've got lots of stuff going on. I got my headphones. You name it, I brought it, is basically the situation. So we are here until 6 p.m. and taking advantage of all of the amenities. James is with me. He's actually, I see him. He's out in the jacuzzi right now because it is, of course, a very overcast day, but I'm totally fine with it because I really just wanted to be laying around reading most of the day, and that's indeed what I'm going to be doing. I have Ghost Adventures on in the background too. It makes me very happy. I'm very happy right now. So yeah, okay, let's talk about book updates. Okay, first of all, I finished Alchemised last night. I will say there was a couple of scenes, a couple of lines of dialogue actually that did get me crying for sure. But I will say the end of the book didn't destroy me the way that a lot of people have been saying that it does on social media. Like a lot of people have been posting videos of like, before I read Alchemised and after I've read Alchemised. I actually felt like at peace with the ending of the book, and it didn't like totally wreck me like I thought it was going to. So overall, I feel very like happy with the way that the book ended, the way that the journey ended. It is a masterfully written book. I absolutely loved it. 5-star read, 6-star read, potentially, and I think it's going into my God tier list of books. Absolutely. Yeah, 6-star read. I absolutely loved it. Check trigger warnings before you dive into that one. Okay, moving right along. For my book options for today, I had a big list of books, or a big pile of books rather, that I made prior to this weekend. You guys would have seen that in the last Vlogtober vlog. Some of the books are from that pile. The first one being that I've already started is The Ever King by L.J. Andrews. I'm starting this. I'm only 30 pages in, so I can't really say a whole lot about it thus far. I do, however, love this cover, and I also really love the inside pages. The end pages on this book is really great. And actually, I usually take off the covers on my hardback books, but I brought it with me just so that I could show you. But I love that it's like a green naked cover, and then look at the end pages. They're really cool, like green with water, ocean on the bottom of them. So yeah, I'm only 30 pages into this, so I can't really say a whole lot. I think this is what I'm going to pick up and keep reading, though. So far, I'm entertained. I did bring my Kindle in case I just want to switch gears and do something else. I am slowly chipping away at Wildcard by Elsie Silver, so that is on here. I have a couple horror books on here as well. I also have like my Plated Prisoner. The next Plated Prisoner book that I'm reading is also in here. Although if I get sucked into this will be the only fantasy book that I read. But I don't know. I just brought my Kindle in case I wanted other options. And then this book is kind of a random one. This wasn't in my previous pile that I curated, but it just arrived yesterday. So I was like, let's throw this into the mix. This is The House Next Door by Anne Rivers Siddons. Anne Rivers Siddons? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. The House Next Door. This came on my radar from a YouTuber that I watch, Ian. I'll put a link to his channel down below. He recently did a like reading books to scare me, or reading the scariest books ever, whatever it is. This was in his list of books that he reviewed, and he gave it such high praise, and I really liked the concept behind it. It sounded kind of interesting. It's deceiving, this cover here, but apparently it is a very spooky tale about a haunted house. I think it's a haunted house story of sorts, but I think it features or tells the story of 3 different occupants that live in this house. I was intrigued after watching his reading vlog, so here we are. But, tis the spooky season. I thought it might be fun to kind of throw this into the mix. I also was trying not to pick giant books. Like Quicksilver was another one that I was going to pick up, but that's like a 600-page book, and I just was like, let me try to be good and pick shorter things. So even this book, The Ever King, it's not that bad, because it's one of those things, it's one of those books where it's got a bunch of like preview stuff at the end. This is 397 pages, so like it's much more doable. And then even this book here, it's 356 pages. So doable sized books is kind of what I was reaching for. And I feel like I have a nice like array of genres as well. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to settle in now and read The Ever King. I'm going to get a little snack and I'm just going to start reading my face off. Did I fall asleep at about 1:30 and woke up at like 3? Yeah. So I have slept through a huge chunk of my reading retreat. However, these beds are very comfortable, and it is nice to just catch up on sleep. I feel like it's like a constant thing. Anywho, not much to give reading update-wise, but just wanted to explain why probably the remainder of my hotel clips are going to be very short because I slept through a big chunk of it. I did read a little bit more of The Ever King. Not much to say on this. I didn't realize it was a dual POV, so it does toggle between our FMC and MMC, what I'm assuming is our MMC. I'm pretty sure it is. I didn't realize it was a dual POV. So that's kind of fun. I got a little bit of our MMC's perspective. He seems like a spooky kind of sea pirate fairy guy. So I don't know. Not much to really say about this. I'm not like fully hooked in yet. I'm not that far though, so I really can't say. I'm only on page 46. So I'm going to reserve my comments until I'm a little bit farther in. I did, just to like mix things up, I did just start The House Next Door. So I am just starting that now, just to kind of mix things up a little bit. We'll see if this catches my attention a little bit more. Also, I just sent James to go get food. So that's all. I did not expect to fall asleep and sleep for as long as I did, but maybe that means I'll stay up late tonight. I don't know. I did just crack an Alani, so hopefully that will put some pep in my step, along with the snacks that are inbound to the room right now with James. So, all right, I'm going to get back to this. Here we go. Hello. Good morning. Yesterday we wrapped up at the hotel and then came back home. I tried to read a little bit on the couch while a movie was on in the background, but I got really sucked into the movie we were watching, which was Weapons. That movie is both really intense, but also so well done. Like, it's such a well done movie, which is not surprising. I think it's from the same director, creator of Barbarian, which is also a great film. But Weapons, wow, highly recommend. Highly recommend. We were going to go see the new Frankenstein movie, but I realized it comes to Netflix on like November 6th or 7th or something like that. So I was like, let's just wait till it comes out on Netflix rather than actually going somewhere. That's why we watched Weapons instead. Highly recommend. It's intense though. It's an intense movie, but so well done. The villain in that movie would make for a really great Halloween costume. Just saying. That said, I really didn't do too much reading yesterday like I thought I did. My Delulu brain was like, I'm going to read a whole book and a half today. That didn't happen at all. I ended up like falling asleep, snacking on snacks, watching Ghost Adventures, like hanging out with James, like watching a horror movie. We went and got popcorn. I also have a neighbor on my street that's building a haunted house. We like went through their haunted house. Like, it ended up being a really fun day, but not like the epic reading retreat that I thought I was going to have. But you know what? No regrets. It was still a great time. Like, it was a wonderful day yesterday. And I feel actually very like recharged and relaxed, which is the first time I've felt like this in a while. I feel like I've just been behind on sleep and like I've just been kind of stressed and just dealing with a lot of adulting things. So I woke up this morning feeling quite refreshed. So quick reading update though. I have really pivoted to pretty much just reading The House Next Door. Here's my initial thoughts on it. I'm not that far in. I'm far enough though that I think I can talk about it. I'm on page 65, chapter 6. This book is very interesting. It is both kind of cozy in the way that the writing style is. Like there's something about the author's writing style that's quite vivid. Like you can see, like I imagine things when I'm reading, obviously, but I see things quite clearly when I'm reading this book. So the descriptions are really interesting. I also didn't realize how much of like what's the vibe that this main character kind of reminds me of. Is it Woman in the Window? Is that what I'm thinking of? I don't know. It's giving very like suburbia. Well, it's like rich suburbia sort of thing. I didn't realize how much like the other neighbors would come into play. And I also thought, I don't know why in my brain too, I thought that it would be from the perspective of the people that are living in this house. But thus far, it's being told from the couple that lives next to it. And the house is literally like being built. Like it was an empty plot of land. So basically it kind of opens with you're following Colquitt and Walter. They're in their house. You learn about kind of their economic status. She kind of introduces the other surrounding sort of neighbors, and they live next to this sort of empty plot that's been vacant for a while. The original owners had tried to sell but couldn't just because of the way that the land was sort of situated. It was hard to build on, et cetera, et cetera. Well, finally, the original owner of that land sells it. And so you meet them, and it's Buddy and Pie is the young couple that is moving in next door, or their house is being built next door rather. And you start to learn more about them and even the architect that builds the house, because the woman in this, she befriends the architect. She sort of befriends the neighbors next door. She kind of has this like I think it's outdoor, like a semi-outdoor covered porch that's on the side of her house that she has. She tends to just invite everybody over for drinks. So she invites people over for drinks on her little patio. And that's how you kind of learn about the neighbors and what's going on in the house and et cetera, et cetera. And it's just, I don't know, there's something cozy, but in like a spooky way. But also there's moments where I wouldn't say like comical. I don't know. It's very relatable. Like it's much more relatable than I thought it was going to be. And I just really like the author's writing style. It's very easy to settle into. Maybe that's what I'm trying to get at. The author's writing style, it's very easy to settle into, which to me feels like this may be a very bingeable book because I'm pretty hyper focused on this right now. And it's kind of the only thing that I want to pick up. I do have Everking over here, which I mean, I did leave off. Oh my God. I did leave off at sort of an interesting point. Still, again, early on this, but I'm like really, I have no desire to pick it up right now. I really just want to keep reading this. So I think that's what I'm going to keep doing. I'm just really liking the vibes of this. Also, the writing style of this feels, and more of a vibe sort of thing, it feels reminiscent of Rosemary's Baby. Like that style, not the story, but like the style of writing, the descriptors of things and how other people are described and how like one character describes another character feels very similar to like how Rosemary's Baby is written. Does that make sense? So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm just going to sit here and keep reading this. I do need to clean my house today. So that is the one thing I'm going to kind of try to balance reading and cleaning my house. So I'll probably be reading this and then I will flip between that and my audiobook while I am cleaning. And of course, the audiobook that I will be listening to is the Darcy Coates book. The Haunting of Blackwood House by Darcy Coates is going to be the audiobook that I will be listening to when you see me with headphones cleaning my house. So my kiddo is going to be coming back early this afternoon from grandma's house today. So I definitely want to try to get things cleaned before he comes back. He's coming back early so that he too can go through the haunted house on our street. I guess they're doing like a daytime walkthrough of it. So I told him, I was like, you probably want to do the daytime walkthrough of it versus on Halloween night, which my God, I'm already bracing. Like, I think Halloween night is going to be crazy in my neighborhood. So I'm like really kind of scared for that. I'm already like making plans in my brain. Like, am I even going to be able to go trick-or-treating with my kid? Because I'm going to need to like man the homestead with the chaos that I think is going to ensue on my street. But anywho, side rambling tangent. I'm going to keep reading this and then hit my audiobook as hopefully I get some cleaning and some reading done today. Hello from me and Leota, the couch, and a big old stack of books. We have a lot to talk about. It is several weeks later. Actually, it's several weeks later. It's like 2.5 weeks later. Time just got away from me. I just got really busy with all sorts of things and started filming all sorts of other videos and completely forgot that I was still filming a reading vlog. So this has turned into like what I thought was going to be one of my last Vlogtober videos has now turned into a sort of month-long reading vlog. So here we are. Where to begin? I have so many things. First of all, last weekend I had the cutest little romance bookshop truck. That's right. It's a Volkswagen bus that has been converted over into a romance bookshop on wheels. Cutest thing ever. I was so excited to learn about this romance book truck and immediately started following on Instagram and like really hope to stalk this book truck and participate in some of her events and even like her online store and when she gets new releases and stuff like that. Love, love, love being able to support a small business like this. Absolutely love it. I say all that because I did pick up a few things from the romance book truck. One of which I don't have at this current moment in front of me, but I got a really cute little Kindle book charm that actually Roman picked out. It was like a little Western thing. He's really into cowboys right now, so that's kind of why he picked it. I got some really cute bookmarks. I love this one with the skeleton in the coffin. I actually don't have a lot of bookmarks with little tassels on them, so I was quite excited by that. The other one I got is also really cute. It's in one of my books that I have started, so hold please. This was the other one that I got. With little ghosties reading books. I'm gonna love that. Again, with a little tassel. So cute. So that was really, really fun. Yeah, so I got the little Kindle charm, some new bookmarks, and then I did pick up 2 new books that I'm quite excited about. We are in like fantasy book season. Am I right? It's getting a little cold outside. We're actually about to get a lot of big rain here in Los Angeles, so I'm really excited about that. So I was really leaning into the romantasy stuff there. I picked up this one, The 13th Child by Erin A. Craig. Looking forward to this. Again, I have not read much of the blurbs of these books that I have picked up. I just kind of went for both the cover, and I feel like I've heard people talk about this. I don't know. This was another one that I have seen a couple of the booktubers that I follow have picked this up, so I went ahead and grabbed it as well. Also a bit of a cover buy. Love this. The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovalino. I don't know. This looks really fun. Love, loyalty, sacrifice. Let's recap on some of the books that I have read. I did start The Everking, but I didn't really fully get sucked in because I had a number of books going on, as you guys saw from the reading retreat. Found myself kind of getting sucked into other things that I had started that week and the week thereafter that I ended up just kind of tabling The Everking. I want to come back to that at another time because I feel like I need to like make a big dent in it for me to kind of get really sucked into it. To be continued. We will come back to that at a future time. Books that I have finished, however, I'm going to start with this one because this was one that I had been reading forever, like really, really slowly. It was one of my late night Kindle reads. It is Wildcard by Elsie Silver. It is book 4 of the Rose Hill series. This was the second series, sort of spin-off from Chestnut Springs. I had a lot of these books in this series were very hit or miss for me. However, I really liked this one. This one actually ended up being one of my favorites. Wildcard and Wild Side were my 2 favorites of the Rose Hill books. So it's this one and then the one with the green cover were my 2 faves. Elsie Silver books, though, are just so fun. They're cozy. This one felt really cozy. I don't know why. The dialogue was really great. There were a number of times in this book where I genuinely laughed out loud. There's a little side character in this outside of our 2 leads here, and he was very funny, sort of an older guy who kind of helps bring them together a bit. And so some of the things that he would say and do was very entertaining. And if you've read this book, you understand. Main trope in this here is that it's a ex-boyfriend's dad trope. Kind of interesting, but it's really well done here. It's not like in a bizarre sort of way. I really love the dialogue between the 2 of them. Was really great. It was a bit of a slow burn, so that was kind of fun too, because sometimes the Elsie Silver spice is quite spicy, and when it does hit, it does get spicy. But I liked our 2 characters quite a bit, particularly the male main character. I did like him a lot more than our female main character, but either way, it was an entertaining book. I thoroughly loved it. This was 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, next. Well, I got kind of distracted because as you would have seen, I kind of got sucked into The House Next Door, which we're going to get to in a minute, because what happened with this book is that I got really sucked in. I was very invested in the beginning. I really liked the vibe of this book quite a lot, but then I don't know, it was feeling a tad repetitive with kind of how some of the story beats were that were happening in this. And what you then follow is 3 different sort of families. Yeah, I guess you could say families. 3 different people or groups of people who buy the house and live in it, and spooky things ensue. I just found that it kind of had a bit of I don't know if it's like a formula or just, I don't know. I just felt like some of the beats were a little bit repetitive with sort of each family or occupants of the house, kind of. I also kind of was hoping that it was going to be a little bit more spookier than it was. And I feel like because of some of the repetitive nature of it, it wasn't as spooky as I had hoped that it would be. That all said, however, I still think it was a very entertaining book, and I liked the author's writing style of this, and I would be very intrigued to check out some of her other books. This is Anne Rivers Siddons, by the way. I would consider this a horror book, absolutely, which is... The cover is deceptive, but I do think it's maybe more of a psychological horror. I don't know. It was an interesting book, a tad genre bending at times. I do think this was a good book. I wouldn't recommend it to everyone, but I did really like the writing style in this quite a bit. It painted quite a vivid picture, and that was really the thing that got me kind of sucked into it a bit. I just wish the story maybe, I don't know, had a bit more variation throughout. I was still entertained. Again, not totally mind blown, but I did end up giving this 3 out of 5 stars. I was going to talk about another book, and then I just ended up giving you my whole summary about this one. So there you go. But halfway through reading this one, I sort of stalled out a little bit. I only just finished this last night. I sort of stalled out because my Book of the Month box had come, and one of my books that I had picked was The 10-Year Affair. Now, I picked this one because I wanted to get the other one that I wanted, which was Rachel Harrison's new book, Play Nice, which I have sitting over in a pile over there, which I'm not going to get up and go get. But when this book arrived, I was surprised by how small it was. And then I noticed that I was able to get it also from my library on my Kindle. So I was sort of like dual reading on my Kindle as well as the physical book. Because I was just really intrigued. And I also got sucked into this book. I was really, okay, the writing style. I don't think the writing style is for everybody. Wait, hold on. Let me tell you about what this book is about first. I'm getting myself all mixed up here. Much like it says, you are following a bit of a 10-year affair. Trying not to be spoilery about it, the context and type of affair that it is interesting. It's also interesting because it's sort of presented in different timelines as like the reality of our main character and then the fictional one that exists in her mind of if she had taken another path or had done made a different decision, basically. So that's kind of interesting. You're sort of following the reality and the imaginary at the same time, and how those sort of interweave and tangle and intertwine into different endings is quite interesting. And much like in the title, it does what it says that it does here. It follows a 10-year affair. The thing that kept me really engaged with this book wasn't necessarily like the story or like the affair. It was the writing style was very interesting. This book is going to appeal to a very specific person. And I think the thing that kept me reading was the dark humor. It's quite dark. It's quite dry, the humor that is throughout this entire book and just naturally part of the author's writing style. It very much has lots of millennial humor in it. It's also interesting because it does take place sort of like recently. There's a lot of stuff that happens outside of the fair. I mean, you're following this woman's life, and it's just interesting the perspective of marriage and having young kids and navigating that pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, post-pandemic, ebbs and flows of married life. I think all of that was quite interesting. Again, was it my favorite story? No, but I loved the author's writing style a lot. I don't think it's going to appeal to everybody though, because there is a certain way that certain sentences are structured, sort of like, she did this, it looked like this, it was this. da, 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 da. Like there is a certain cadence to her writing at times, which I think is what allows it to come off as sort of humorous, but I don't think it's going to appeal to everybody, if that makes sense. So I don't know. This is a hard one to recommend or not recommend. I think this will be entertaining for you if you have young kids and you're navigating work-life parental balance, because I found the commentary about it quite humorous. Trying not to dish out too many spoilers here. All that to say, if this author came out with something else, I probably would pick it up, because I was entertained by this. I was entertained. I ended up giving this 3 out of 5 stars. It was nice because it was nice and short. It was short. It was a shorty little book that I got through in a couple of days, which was kind of nice, just in between some of the other sort of bigger things that I had read. The last other thing that I will say is that I cannot stop thinking about Alchemised. I can't stop thinking about this book. Bestiali has now started reading it, and I am living vicariously, and I have also downloaded the audiobook. Why? I don't know. Part of me already wants to reread it, which is absolutely insane. I also really want to go through and like properly annotate it, which might be the thing that I need to do that will scratch my itch and relive this story. I also just think a reread of this will be really, really interesting. Knowing what I know now at the end, I think there's a lot of little things to sort of pick up and experience again on a reread will be really interesting. So I don't know. I think there will come a time where I'm going to go through probably the next like week or so and properly annotate this. There's things that I want to highlight. There's things that I want to write down. And while it's still fresh in my brain and while I have all my little tabs in there. But yeah, just wanted to bring this up. I am still very much thinking about this book. I think about it a lot, which is like really insane. Just how crazy good this book is. So there you have it. We got a big old stack of books there that I got through and picked up a couple of new ones along the way. And yeah, I am slowly getting through my book goal, which is quite exciting. I had a goal this year of reading 60 books. I have currently read 54. So I am on track to hit my 60 book goal, which I'm quite happy about. Oh, wait, hold on. I also forgot to mention, I did finish my audiobook and I had been slowly reading it. I started it around Halloween time. The Haunting of Blackwood House. I hated it. The female main character is absolutely insufferable. I couldn't stand her. She buys this house that has this horrible history in it. Her parents were spiritualists. She hates her parents. I don't believe in ghosts. Ghosts aren't real. It's all a hoax. Blah, blah, blah. All sorts of crazy stuff starts happening in her house. And she just denies the entire time, to the point where it is so annoying. So annoying. How she treats her boyfriend, who does nothing but help her and save her ass the entire time. And she's still so like, I couldn't stand the main character in that book. I hated it so much. I did finish that audiobook and I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. Did not like at all. It like frustrates me even to think about it. Okay, that is enough of the ramble. That is the full big bookish update for you there. As I mentioned, I'm getting close to hitting my book goal for 2025, which I'm quite happy about. I hope you guys have enjoyed this random little reading vlog here. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, consider subscribing. I put out at least one new video every week. If you made it this far in the video, why don't you leave some playing cards in the comments for me down below so that I know you're a real one and you made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!